Hello and welcome to ET Career Talks, brought to you by Mahindra University. I'm Miloni Bhatt. Today we are diving deep into the impact an executive MBA can have on your professional trajectory. Our focus, finding your next career move, strategies for senior professionals at career crossroads. Joining us are two special guests who bring a wealth of expertise to the table. First up is Sanjay Gupta, the President and CEO of Spark Minda Advanced Technologies Group. Sanjay's expertise lies in advanced automotive technologies like EV, ADAS, and sensors. He's driven by a passion for semiconductor development and has held key positions at companies like Motorola and NXP Semiconductors. With over 27 years of navigating the tech industry's ebbs and flows, Sanjay is here to share his insights on surmounting challenges and seizing opportunities in today's fast-paced landscape. Sanjay, delighted to have you here with us.
Thank you very much for having me here. Looking forward to the conversation. Thank you.
It's our pleasure to have you here. Alongside him is the esteemed Professor Sanjay Singh, the driving force behind Mahindra University's Executive MBA program. He has several decades of experience in designing and offering programs for senior executives at National University of Singapore, Indian School of Business, and Mahindra University. Professor Singh's mission to empower professionals like you with the tools and knowledge needed to navigate career transitions successfully. It's our pleasure to have you here with us, Professor.
I'm absolutely delighted to be here this evening and looking forward to an engaging conversation with everyone. Thank you for having me.
We too are looking forward to engaging with the two of you. Now, to the audience, throughout the session, I urge you all to actively participate. Drop your questions into the Zoom chat box, and our panel of experts will ensure that each one is met with a thoughtful and insightful response. After all, today's discussion is about arming all of you with the insights that you need to chart your course to a career successfully. So let us dive in and uncover how an executive MBA could be the game changer that you've been searching for on your professional journey. My first question, Mr. Gupta, is to you. Could you share some insights into the common challenges that you see mid-career professionals face when trying to advance their careers based on your industry experience?
Sure, absolutely. And I must say that this is a very relevant discussion that you're having. So thank you for that. For our nation, where we are proud to say that we have a demographic dividend with more than 50% of population below 30 years, everyone is going to be the talent for not just India, but for the world for as many as 3 to 4 decades in future. Hence, many of us who have faced this challenge before, and many of us who are going to face it in next couple of decades, this is a very, very important point. So I will try to share what my perspective are on that. So typically what happens when we start our career in any industry, whether it is a technology industry or it is a service industry or a manufacturing industry, the first few years are generally going where we are literally starting as a fresh, not really knowing the nuts and bolts of that particular function or that particular industry. So first fascinating years, I would say 3 to 5 years are the most learning experience, the most exciting times, where every day you are, bubbling with energy to learn something new and giving it back. But what starts happening, I think 10th year onwards, and it may differ from people to people, but for me, probably after 15 years, when I underwent various learning curves through various divisions of my company, there comes a point where when you go to work, you do not know what new you are going to do today. And often it leads to a lethargy or a stagnation where you don't feel as energized as you were on your day one or in the middle of your first 10 years. And that's where if you do not get the right mentorship, if you do not choose the right cross path, it's like you're a juncture of multiple things. You can, in lack of a better word, just switch a job with the hope that I will get my excitement back. But hope is nothing more than you are just throwing a dice and trying your luck. The other thing could be you get a good mentor who coaches you. But with the growing population in India, what I realized specific to each function, it's also a luck to have the right mentor, because there are not too many senior people who exactly are the domain expert. At least 15 years back, it was not the case. Now we are having that situation. But with the kind of base we have, where millions of young Indians are going to look for mentor, even that is not the easy case. So often people go into a mode where, in lack of any other option, they just keep doing what they were doing. And before they realize, there are people who are coming from behind, who are either in corporate language overtaking them or displacing their position. And suddenly you realize you are in a no man's land. And that is the worst thing to have, because even the brightest of person can lose their confidence without knowing, why they failed. And I think that is the exact career junction where a sweet spot of, I would say, 8 to 10 years, where we need these kind of executive MBAs, where you literally get a renewed life. I mean, in my case, I would say that I was lucky enough to get a very one of the finest schools, Indian School of Business, and also thanks to Mr. Sanjay Singh, who is in the panel, who interviewed me at that time for why I want to do it. And fast forward, I would say that that gave me a new life, because when I came back after doing that executive MBA with the wonderful curriculum that was designed by Mr. Sanjay Singh, I was having opinion about every topic that was being discussed. Just to give you example, before that I was a core R&D person, and I always used to hear my CEO saying in every town hall, we need to focus on gross margin, we need to focus on EBITDA. Honestly, I had no clue what gross margin means, what EBITDA means. All I used to think, these are very difficult things and I better just do what I know. But the moment I came back, I designed frameworks based on my R&D. I dissected everything the way we were doing chip design. And out of 10 things that we were doing, what are the 3 things that impact gross margin? What are the 3 things that impact EBITDA? What are the things that impact your top line? And we molded the entire team, those hundreds of people, so that they have a metric to look up to, so that we can say this is the impact that R&D team made on top line and bottom line. And suddenly India team started shining, and suddenly everybody was speaking a long language which was like unknown to engineers, and it changed our life in many different ways. I just touched upon one factor, financial factor, but there were tens of other things that influenced me as a person, as a professional, as a leader. And my journey after doing that executive MBA completely took me onto a different accelerated path for growth. So I would say that this is definitely something that a lot of us would need, who are in their early teens in their experience.
So thanks very much, for sharing your journey. Professor Sanjay Singh, to you now, from your perspective, how would you say the Mahindra University's Executive MBA program addresses some of the challenges that Mr. Gupta pointed out earlier, and provides solutions for professionals looking to break through career plateaus? Mr. Gupta has given a wonderful example where he was able to break out of it and literally breathe new life into the company.
Well, thank you so much for asking this question. No, and I think, Sanjay has beautifully explained, the outcome. And given that I have been designing and meeting a lot of people who are facing, these issues, I can safely say that, one of the things that Mahindra University offers is, a true executive MBA, number one. And why I say a true executive MBA, because this is something in India, we really do not understand. So the global definition of an executive MBA is that it is meant for senior executives. That is why the word executive is prefixed to it. It does not mean an MBA where people with 2-3 years of experience can get in, right? And in India, people feel that an executive MBA means any program where you require any kind of work experience is an executive MBA. So in Mahindra University, the batches that we have, the average work experience is around 17 to 18 years. which is fairly similar to what was the average work experience in Sanjay's class at ISB when I was managing the program there. So for one, it is meant for people who are functional leaders. So they have grown through a functional role. They could be HR heads, they could be sales head, marketing heads, people who are head of accounts, finance, purchasing, and they feel that they are kind of reaching the top, the peak of a functional role. Now, beyond a functional role, there isn't, beyond the chief marketing officer, there isn't a marketing role because he's the head of the marketing function or she's the head of the marketing function. So how do you grow beyond that? Now, to grow beyond that, you have to become a general manager. And when we say general manager, it is not about the designation, it is about the role, which means that as a general manager, you are responsible for human resources, you are responsible for production, you are responsible for sales and marketing, you are responsible for your funding. Where do you get funding for expansion, for example? Are you utilizing the funds effectively for the benefit of the organization, etc.? And you are also heading strategy because you decide the future course of action for that particular business. And that is when people realize that while they know one area very well, which is their functional areas, they do not necessarily understand the other functions. And as Sanjay mentioned, right, EBITDA, etc. These are things that many people don't understand. And therefore, the opportunities for career growth become limited because, as Marshall Goldsmith said in his famous book, what got you here will not get you there, right? So there are certain skills which have helped us reach a certain stage, but then for future growth, the skills required for those particular roles are different from the ones that some of us may currently have. Now, there are two options to acquire those skills, right? Either you continue working, you get mentors like Sanjay said, and they can help you, or you can fast track that by going into an executive MBA kind of a program. Because basically what an executive MBA does is it distills all the management knowledge which has been generated over hundreds of years into 1.5 to 2 years so that you can hit the ground running. And if I may use that analogy, typically if there is a avenue for promotion, right, who is likely to get that promotion from 10 people in the organization, right? Somebody who's seen as having a good attitude, somebody who's keen to learn, somebody who goes outside of what is required to achieve things. And doing an executive MBA falls into all these categories, because your company sees you as somebody who's a constant learner. Your organization sees you as somebody who has now got more skills than amongst the 10 people that are suitable for promotion. So the most likely candidate for promotion will be the person who has better skills than the rest of the peers, right? So basically, this is how an executive MBA helps. And the other features of an executive MBA are that you don't have to quit working. So the opportunity cost is very low. For if you have to go into a 2-year program, then you are losing your salary for 2 years, right? And typically for the kind of people who are coming in, they have a family to take care. It's not just bachelors, right? So they have financial responsibilities. They cannot afford to lose their salaries. At the same time, they want to do a good quality program. They are not looking at getting a paper certificate, right? And which is what organizations like Mahindra University don't do. We actually help people get the skills that will help their career move forward. Otherwise, you can get a paper certificate by doing some kind of an online program for 6 months or a year from an unknown university. That really doesn't help. Now, in our case, for example, we invite 1/3 of the courses taught by foreign faculty. Right, we take our students to Cornell University. We take them to Frankfurt School of Finance and Management for studies. Right, so it gives them global exposure. It also allows them access to international faculty, guest speakers, industry visits. So it broadens their horizon. Right, so basically, it gives them a perspective that okay, this is what I was doing till today. Now this is what I'm doing. I am likely to do tomorrow, because of these new skills which I have obtained through a program like this. So essentially what I'm trying to say is that if It is suited for people who have extensive work experience, who cannot quit their jobs, and they don't need to actually, because the other people, in the class will be fairly senior, so they also get to learn from each other. They
Right.
built a network of people who are
Win-win
senior
for everyone.
professionals. Yeah. So in that sense, this is extremely useful. And in fact, if I remember, I had a conversation with Sanjay, and it just so happens that I didn't know that he was going to be the other speaker. It is just, such a sheer coincidence that we have known each other for a long time. And last time we had met, he was sharing about how he has leveraged the network from, his executive MBA very effectively. So there are multiple benefits, and happy to, expand upon those depending on further questions which come up.
No, absolutely. Thank you very much, Professor, for diving into this. Mr. Gupta, to you, to someone who's pursued this executive MBA, talk to us about how your experience contributed to your personal and professional growth, particularly in terms of, leadership development, and then also the ability to make decisions. I think you touched upon it, but if you could dive a little bit deeper.
Sure. So I touched upon only one specific aspect of financial knowledge, which I must say that most of the functional people, whether it is HR, whether engineering, technology guys, generally don't have because their core domain is something different. But as Sanjay ji rightly said, if someone is growing in the career beyond 10 to 15 years, then you need to be expert of cross-functional teams, also not just your own function. And I have often seen in my case, as well as in a lot of my colleagues, peers, and now in our team members, that whenever there is an opportunity to grow someone from a current role into the next role, other than many other things, one of the very important criteria is at a higher level of abstraction, does that person has the ability to think from different perspectives, to think from different angles? Because often no decision is right or wrong. It is the joint kind of assimilation of facts in the best interest of the organization is the right decision. And if the leader has the ability to go into each one of those shoes and then take a rational call, they are the leaders which are more probable to succeed than the rest who only think from one very narrow angle. Right. So that is very important thing that my executive MBA led me, because it is a very well-rounded program. I must say that Mr. Sanjay Singh designed, where every single aspect that a leader should know from a strategy. We have the best professors of strategy which were teaching us again from abroad. We had finance, we had culture, we had merger and acquisition, we have ethics, we have business principles. I mean, the list goes on. And we were not taught just theoretical. Every single course was theoretical, followed by live case studies, debates, discussions. And often we were exposed to a situation where most of our colleagues were chosen from cross-functional teams. So in my current organization, while I only get a view, which is technology at that time, in my PGP Max class, if there were 60 people, all 60 were chosen from different backgrounds. Few were from army, few were from navy, few were from educational background, few were from chemical engineering background. So we got a very well-rounded perspectives which grown our knowledge, our network, and that immensely helped me for real life cases in any discussion or debate. Not just I was more aware, if it is a matter of financial acumen, I also had very rich perspectives to share, which a lot of people in the room will say, wow, we never thought about it. What happened to Sanjay? So it was a very gradual transformation over 18 months to 2 years, where we underwent that. And one more thing I would say, one is a formal education in our executive MBA. One was informal network based education that Sanjay ji mentioned. We were having a group of people which we are still friends, and till today, if there is a cross-functional help required, perspectives required, feedback required, even some of our classmates did a joint business and they're running successful companies because one person was adding a very very strategic focus. The other was giving a very good operational focus. Today in my current company, I was able to bag a very good automotive collaboration because one of my classmates is actually working in a very big automotive OEM. I will restrain the name. So that way we are trying to collaborate wherever possible. It is helping us in business. It is helping us in a boardroom discussions. It is helping us in taking the right decisions because we are much smarter than we used to be.
And of course, you've created that network, and that network effect helps not just you, but everyone within the network. And then, of course, helps companies at large as well. And then employees who work within the companies. And of course, the impact, I think, just multiplies. So thank you very much, for that insight. Professor Singh, to you, can you elaborate on some of the specific features of Mahindra University's Executive MBA that facilitate, this leadership development that Sanjay has spoken of, and also equipping professionals with the skills that they need to overcome the career plateaus and achieve the goals that they have?
Sure. So, like I mentioned, we have designed this program one for senior professionals, right? So we are targeting people who have between 15 to 20 years of work experience. And to enable them to balance work, life, and family, the way we have structured the program is that they come for a week of classes every 2 months. And these are all in-person classes because, as Mr. Sanjay Gupta was mentioning, there is a lot of learning which happens through case discussions and discussions in the classroom, which an online kind of a platform does not, align itself very well to. Online platforms are great for some other courses, but in my opinion, they are not the best suited for an MBA kind of a program. So they come for in-person classes for a week, and then they go back to their workplace, then they come back again for a week. So this process continues for, close to a 2-year period. And as a part of the program, as I mentioned, we also take them to Cornell University and to the Frankfurt School of Finance and Management, where they also get, we also do industry trips, etc. And we get guest speakers from those countries, and of course, faculty from those universities teach. And they do also get a certificate of participation from those universities as well, which in a way adds to their resume as well, apart from the Mahindra University MBA that they will get. So that is one. The second is in terms of the curriculum. Like I said, since we are targeting functional leaders, we offer a general management program because they are all looking to be general managers. So we don't have specializations because they have already done a specialist role so far, right? So there is no point of teaching them the same thing again, right? They are experts in their field. So we give them a general management perspective because that is what will help them get general managerial roles in the future. In terms of faculty, executive MBA programs are only taught by senior faculty by virtue of the participants being very senior themselves. So the faculty themselves have to have, a worth of experience to be able to handle the kind of questions which these participants ask, because, they have seen a lot of life, right? So they have experienced a lot of things in their workplace. So the kind of questions they will ask are very different from those that you will get in, a regular 2-year full-time MBA program where, there are youngsters who are 22, 23-year-old, in the class. And so therefore, we have 1/3 of our faculty are foreign visiting faculty. They will, we get them from all across the world to come and teach. 1/3 are senior faculty from Mahindra University School of Management, and 1/3 are other senior visiting faculty that we get from, some of the top IIMs, etc. So maybe recently retired from IIMs who are very well-known faculty in that particular area. So we get them to teach, our executive MBA students as well. And plus, we emphasize a lot on learning through case studies. We use Harvard case studies for all our courses. And they are very, very relevant in terms of highlighting business issues that people face. And they are able to make a connection between theories and what is happening in practice through case study discussions as well. So these would be, I think some of the features, but, I personally think that there are, and I will not go into the details, but there are 3, true executive MBA programs in India currently. And I leave it to, the participants to figure out, who the 3 are. I think, without taking names, we have 2 here already represented through, myself and Mr. Sanjay Gupta. But these are very serious programs. Yes, there is a lot of investment which is required. Of course, for Mahindra University, because we are relatively new, we have kept, our fee much lower than, almost half of what other executive MBA programs require. But over a period of time, we will also, we will have to ensure that we don't end up making a loss. So we don't want to make a profit, but at least we have to recover the cost of the program from a fee.
It's good. I think it's a question that a lot of people will have, that,
Yeah.
how is it going to pinch my pocket? Because they're working as well as, supporting families, as you pointed out at the beginning. And then, of course, pursuing a higher degree for them to move, for career advancement. But Professor Singh, now we've got a couple of questions that are coming in, and we've got a few that have been also sent to us when people registered for this. I'm just going to take one of the questions which has come up on chat. It's from Leela Nand Katuku. He says, I'm a CA, 3 years of experience in audit. Doing executive MBA with this experience will be useful, he questions, or do I have to wait to get more experience? And what kind of career options will I get if I do the executive MBA?
So should I take this question?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think, first of all, Leelanand, I think you don't even meet the entry requirements of an executive MBA. So that's not an option for you currently. With 3 years of experience, I think my personal opinion is you are better off doing a full-time MBA program as of today, right? I am not too sure, whether you would want to wait for an executive MBA because you have started thinking about an MBA right now. Perhaps it may be the right time for you to enroll in a full-time program. Executive MBA basically is people who like doing, certain things. They like a functional role. I'm a salesperson, I get into a sales role, but at some stage then I realize that no more growth, right? So then what do I do? So you are still young. I think, honestly, both options are open. If you like doing your audit practice, you want to continue, get into maybe a director role or a partner role in one of the big 4 or, any other audit firm. I've had people who are directors and partners, come in and do executive MBA programs at that stage. So purely your choice, but given that you are young, both options are open.
Mr. Gupta, anything to contribute to this?
No, I would agree to what Sanjay ji has said. 3 years is a very short time for the true leverage of executive MBA, where you need a lot of cross-functional. I would say in the first 10 years, or maybe 8 years, first we get a domain expert of what we are doing, because first we establish ourselves as the known authority, and then we go horizontal, and then we kind of go up. That would be my strategy.
All right. Okay. We've got one more question from Shashank MN. He does not tell us how long he's been in his career, but he says he has an interest in customer service executive role, but I'm struggling to know what is the career growth. And I think he means that on the internet, there is just too much information, but there's no proper structure to that information. And there is no clear pointers to how that career would take off. Any thoughts on that, Mr. Gupta and Professor Singh?
Okay, so maybe I will quickly take that. I would say one of the things that I've learned in last couple of years is given everything else is same, given you have a product which looks similar to your competition, given you have price which looks similar to your competition, the one thing that differentiates is how you can win customer trust. So from that standpoint, this question is very relevant. If this person is above 10 years or meeting the criteria, I remember trust was one of the full times kind of a topic to clear in our executive MBA. And that was one of the most fascinating courses that teach us how trust could be a differentiator. And if you can be the favorite of your customer, that once I give something, I can sleep in peace. This executive will take care of that. I think you will hit it full score. So great opportunity for this person to do executive MBA if he follows the criteria.
All right. Professor?
Yeah, if I can quickly add, I think you are absolutely right, Shashank, that internet is full of information which may or may not be true, right? And just today morning, I was in a research seminar where we were discussing exactly this issue about the lack of trust in online purchasing, right? So people like to, if you go to a physical store, you don't have distrust. But in online purchasing, sometimes you wonder whether I will get a fake iPhone or whatever, right? So my suggestion would be that if you are serious about your career growth, go beyond the internet. I mean, feel free to come and visit us at Mahindra University, or if you are looking at some other MBA programs or other universities or schools, go and visit them, make a trip, meet the current students, meet some of the faculty members. I think that will help you get clarity whether this is something that you should do and whether this is the right university or school for you.
That's
go beyond
excellent advice. And I think, many students should actually take that up. Go and visit, the university that you'd like to be a part of and enroll in, and check out, their program. I think that feel that you get if you meet the professors, I think, that goes a long way in establishing the trust that you were speaking of. All right, moving on, we've got another question from Shrikant T. After completing the program, what will be the career down the line for the next few years? Especially, I think he means it in the present market context because there are too many layoffs in tech companies like Amazon and etc.
So maybe real quick response from my side, and we actually often use it for the talented folks in their respective fields when we talk about layoffs are happening in different companies or different parts of the world. One thing that I firmly believe, for people who know their subject matter, people who are good in their leadership or whichever domain they are part of, layoff never impacts those people. I have seen it. Layoff only tries to look into the bottom of the pyramid where people are not performing. So if executive MBA gives you that edge that I spoke about earlier, if it makes you visible in the room, if it gives you a perspective that others don't have, you will always be valued. And in many ways, this is the investment you do on yourself. I mean, in my case, I can again highlight that I did that in 2012. And I did not know honestly, how this is going to shape my career, because I was like a student getting into it with hopes. But the kind of transformation hopefully it did in me, which was visible to my superiors, my management, when the time came that they were looking for somebody who is ready to lead the whole country instead of just the function, they chose me as the new country managing director at a probably younger stage. I'm sure my executive MBA have big role to play in that, because I could talk to customers, I could talk to teams, I could talk to conflict resolution, and many more things beyond technology. So it certainly helps you, and don't worry about recession.
All right. No, that's, a very heartening response. I think a lot of people will be, breathing a sigh of relief, considering, the job market is not as good as, one would hope that it would be. We've got one more question. And I think, Professor, this is a question that you should take. And this is a linked question that we also got on email. So first is, how is the Mahindra course different to other MBA courses like IIM's Executive MBA? And we've also got Nath, who's also asking, CFO programs by ISB and IIMC are also available. They're similar to yours. Which way is the Mahindra MBA better? And he says that he's a chartered accountant with 20 plus years of experience.
Yeah, sure. So, one of the things that, I spoke of earlier is executive MBAs at IIMs, right? So because they are following the typical norm followed in India, one, they are full-time programs, right? So the UGC defines them as 18-month long full-time program for people with work experience, right? Now, we believe that for senior people with 17, 18 years, 10, 15 years of work experience, quitting their job for 1.5 years, 2 years is a very difficult and a very risky thing, right? Because especially in today's world, once you leave, you don't know what the job situation will be like, because companies are not going to keep that position vacant, right? They will get somebody else to fill that position fairly quickly, right? So there is a lot of uncertainty which kind of builds into a choice like that. If you quit your job and go to a program like this, so our program, you can continue to work, and so therefore there is no risk. In fact, whatever promotions happen during those 2 years, you will get those promotions as well, right? So you don't miss out on those things as well. You can fly in from any city. I mean, that's one other part. So you don't really have to move to Hyderabad or to attend this program. In fact, right now we have one person who comes in from US every 2 months, one person from UK who comes in every 2 months, right? So these kind of things happen, and I think in Sanjay's class also there were people who were flying in from abroad, right, to attend. And coming to Mr. Nath's question about CFO programs, so see, CFO programs are again a functional program, right? So I'm not talking of the quality. IIMC and ISB are both great schools. So if you are looking at becoming a better CFO, then definitely those are programs that you should definitely consider, because both are highly reputed schools. And I think you will gain a lot of knowledge through these programs as well. But then if you are wanting to move out of CFO roles or finance roles and become a CEO or a CXO other than financial area, then these programs may not be that relevant for you. Then you have to look at a general management programs where you are getting, because you already know finance, right? They will embellish some of the latest things, latest technologies which have come in. They will expose you to some of those areas. But a general management program will have a very different flavor, and it will teach you operations management. It will teach you marketing and sales, and all those aspects as well. So that would be my thinking. Look at what you want. And if you want to continue in the finance function, continue to be a CFO, then perhaps the ISB and IMC program you speak of will be a good fit for you. But if your desire is something else, move from a functional role to a general management role, then perhaps an executive MBA will be a better choice.
All right, we've got Biswajit Nanda. That's an interesting question. He's 53 and says commerce graduate with MBA finance distance.
So he says that, what is the potential, to change my career to agri corporate sector, now pursuing by an executive MBA. So, Mr. Nanda, I think there are two parts to it, right? So one is, what skills an executive MBA program will give you. Will they be relevant to the corporate sector? The answer is absolutely yes, right? Then the second question is, or the second factor, not the question, the second factor is dependent on the individual, right? So how driven is the individual undertaking that program, right? How keen are you to learn new knowledge? How keen are you to apply that into the sector? And also, you may have to gain some other skills which are not taught in an executive MBA, right? Not as formal courses, of course, and which could be networking, right? How do you look at networking with people in the private sector so that you are able to get opportunities? Because in executive MBA programs, we don't offer placement services, right? Because you are already employed somewhere. So we cannot be disrespectful to your current organization and say that you send this person to our executive MBA, give them time off to attend, but we will find them other jobs, right? Then no company will allow you leave to attend our program, right? But if you are a driven person, if you imbibe the knowledge in the program, if you find networks in the private sector and agricultural sector, I see no reason why that will not happen. In fact, there are many examples I have from executive MBA programs. People were in government service, and they went on to head metro rail programs in Kochi, for example. They went on to head, one other person I remember headed Sterlite in India. He was the CEO of India. right? So there are enough number of people who came from a government setup, but made a successful transition into the private sector, but they were very driven individuals. So that is my response. Would you like to add anything, Sanjay?
No, I think you are absolutely right. It is bang on and fully aligned with what you said.
Okay. So I'll go to the next question, but this is not a question. So okay. So it's in two parts, right?
Yeah.
So somebody, Srijit is saying senior manager auto sector with PGDBA from distance learning. How will it help me? So Srijit, I think again, one of the things I would like to clearly mention, right? If anybody doing an executive MBA, it is not that the day you complete, you will suddenly get a CEO offer, right? It will take, maybe a 10-year period, for you to climb the ladder, for you to get noticed first, get your first opportunity into a general managerial role. And then when you perform well there, then you get, rise in the corporate ladder, right? But in terms of, since you have done distance education, I can clearly tell you that it will, this in-person class in an executive MBA will clearly surpass your experience, right? I think you will thoroughly enjoy it. You will learn so much more through these interactions. And then it is, of course, your own drive and other things which will help you propel in your career.
Correct. Maybe I will add
Yes.
to what you said, Sanjay. Being a automotive area, considering I am doing a lot of work in automotive these days, if Shijit is a senior manager, I'm sure that you have not written exactly which function, but let's say you are into procurement function, hypothetically. Today you may be procurement expert, but after going through executive MBA, when you meet people who have the ability to talk about why a profitable business is more, is better than a loss-making business. And I remember we had a case study, if you remember Sanjay ji, where there was a live session where why one is more than zero concept was highlighted by bidding two individuals on a $1 rupee note, a $1 note, and we ended up having one person in the ego putting $50 to win that $1 bill. And the lesson that we learned that in business, ego should be kept at home. You should be focusing if you are able to make money and not win projects based on business. So there could be so many examples. You can learn how to manage inventories if you're managing supply chain. Why inventories are so much important for your working capital, and how your working capital are so much important to give you free cash flow, which in turn helps to your overall profitability, because the less working capital you have, the less money you need or less loan you need. So irrespective of which function, if you cross that barrier of eligibility, say 10 years or 15 years, I think executive MBA can really make you shine and give you a rounded approach rather than a very sharper thought process into a very you one function, and that will obviously make you feel noticed and rise in your career.
Yeah, I think the next question is very interesting from Karan Jain. He's involved in a family business, has experience in sales and marketing with some startup experience, and feels that something new should be done to the current business, and will an executive MBA help? Karan, the answer is absolutely yes, right? Because what happens is that once we are in our business, it's like putting blinders, right? So you have blinders, you only look at your current business, and you are so focused on that you sometimes miss out on opportunities which come. And in a program like ours, which is very international in nature, you get exposure to what is happening across the world. What are some new technologies coming up, right? What is the gap in the market today that can be exploited by way of starting up a new business, right? So definitely it will help. The other way it can help is that, at Mahindra University, for example, we have an incubation center, right? So the entrepreneurship cell can help you refine your business ideas. You can participate. You can also, maybe even if the idea is good, you can get some seed funding also from the university, right? And networking itself will give you, a great sense. When you meet professors, sometimes they become, your sounding board. So often we have seen, even after completing the program, the ex-students will write to them, I'm thinking of this idea. What do you think is, will it work or will it not work, right? So they keep on leveraging the network with their faculty members and their classmates. So I think the answer is an absolute yes. In fact, at ISB, I used to have 20% of the class were people from family businesses.
Yeah. I think we've got one of the questions which has come in over email. And the question is this: once the top level is reached, and if the number of experience is over 20, is it a good idea to become a consultant rather than to be a permanent employee? Is that a relevant question, you would say, Professor Singh?
Well, it's not relevant to an executive MBA, but given that this gentleman or lady has reached out, I think we owe a very short answer. I think that again depends on your network, right? And your the financial condition. So if you are in a condition to retire today, then you can actually become a consultant and use that to keep yourself busy and also to earn an income, right? But just to jump into consulting without a background into that may take a while to get that business to some level of revenues. It is my short answer.
All right. Another question that we have is, how difficult is it for senior management professional to change industry and continue to play a pivotal role?
Should I take that or you want to take that, Sanjay?
No, please go ahead. I think I remember we asked you that question, so you are the best person.
Well, so my answer is fairly simple, right? So it is about industry and function. If you try to change both at the same time, it is very difficult. So my advice always is try to change one thing at a time. So if you are a marketing person, going from industry A to industry B is relatively easier. But if you are, trying to change from marketing to finance and also change your industry, it becomes very difficult. But in this case, when we are talking of moving up in the career, right? So it is not necessarily changing industries. In fact, the best result you will get is when you try to retain, be in related industries to yourself, right? Because that is where your worth will be the maximum. I always say that we should play on our strengths, right? So if I can give an analogy, if today we tell Virat Kohli to go and join the Indian hockey team, right? How likely is he to perform well there, right? So given his years of experience playing cricket, we are saying now suddenly you go and play a different sport. So my suggestion would be that if you have an experience in a particular industry, look for growth in that industry rather than trying to change the industry, right? A lot of people I know get disheartened with the IT industry, for example. Enough of coding, I don't want to do that, right? It's okay, but you can, in the IT industry also, you can become a CEO where you don't have to do coding, but you just have to manage that business, right? Somebody else will do that coding for you. So my advice is leverage your experience and work and don't start from scratch. Sanjay, over to you.
No, I think absolutely right. And I have thorough experience in living into what you are saying. It's obviously difficult, as a great analogy you give, from moving from cricket to hockey. While people may argue that they have the common sense, they have the leadership, they have the people skill, but reality is that you can eventually be there, but you will lose a lot of time. That's the point. So if somebody is willing to wait for 10 years to learn a new sports and then be again a rock star, maybe it is possible, but then you will lose a lot of time. And in today's world, everybody wants instant gratification. So from that perspective, Sanjay's advice is very apt.
All right. One more question. What edge does an MBA give someone in a legal field? For instance, I think this person is a lawyer.
Okay. So honestly, there are a few lawyers who do executive MBA programs. The number is not very large. And typically, the lawyers who will do this are the lawyers who are engaged in some kind of an M&A advisory function. So because when you look at mergers and acquisitions, there will be a financial advisory team, there will be a legal advisory team, and there is a strategy advisory team. Now, for lawyers who do an executive MBA program, they are not doing it to move to a general managerial role. They are doing it because when they are doing merger and acquisition advisory from a legal perspective, they are also able to understand the strategies of both the companies, the acquirer and the company being acquired. And once they understand the strategies, they are able to draft a proper, legal documentation, which ensures that the acquisition or the merger is successful. So they do that because they get a better understanding of their clients' businesses, because otherwise they know law very well, but they don't understand various kind of businesses very well. So that is when some lawyers do that, but they will not go on to a corporate role other than law.
All right. We have, I think, one last question. What are career avenues that are open for a person who's just a graduate but has a very long corporate work experience of over 15 years?
Yeah, I think we have answered this question, enough number of times, and Sanjay has given his own example. And I can tell you that there are many of my ex-students who, were from purchase function, they were from HR function, some were in facility management, some were in R&D, and a lot of them have gone on to head business units today, right? Many of them are holding CEO or managing director designations. Many of them may have different designations. Some of them have become angel investors, also investing in startups. So there is a lot of growth opportunity, and again, it is dependent on your own motivations and the learning one obtains from the program, and of course the skills that a program is able to impart to you.
All right.
And the critical thing is to join a good quality program, right? And I've maintained that don't go for the paper certificate, right? Go for the learning. That is when you will get the best outcome.
Yeah, you underline that. Yeah.
Maybe I'll just add, one brief comment that,
sure.
I see it as a very good blend of, theoretical concepts like finance I never learned. Then case studies, debates where you actually learn the real life experiences. And third is the post-course network. I think that is also equally important, which you miss in an online program. So we still are, in my batch of 2012, we still are friends. We have a WhatsApp group. Every year there is an annual physical meet, sometime in Goa, sometimes in some other exotic place, but it still happens. And then a lot of business proposition that comes out of that. So I cannot undermine the value of this face-to-face executive MBA.
In fact, all people who come for executive MBA programs are graduates with enough experience. So absolutely, to the point of your question.
All right. I think this is the final question. Can we get a scholarship for the executive MBA program at Mahindra University?
My apologies, but the short answer is no. And the reason, there are a few reasons. One is that we are attracting people who are already in decent jobs. So subsidized education should be given to people who need it. So given that we are attracting people with 15, 17 years of work experience, they are able to afford it. The second reason is that already we are, our pricing is 50% of what other programs are, right? So we are incurring a heavy loss. So we cannot afford, more losses. And but the saving grace is if one is looking for financial assistance, we have tie-ups with banks. So you can actually take an education loan and you can repay it over the next 7 odd years. So that makes it absolutely affordable and manageable if one wants to look at some financing options.
All right. I think this, answers a lot of the questions that people had posed to us. Thank you very much, Professor Sanjay Singh and Mr. Sanjay Gupta, for giving us your time and your insights and also explaining how people can take charge of their career growth, especially at a functional manager level. And you've addressed some of the common challenges that professionals face when experiencing a standstill in their careers, and also emphasize the importance of proactive steps that are needed for growth. So to all those people who joined us, thank you very much. We hope that your questions were answered. Should you have more questions, any follow-up questions, do not hesitate to write into us. And we believe Professor Singh will respond to all of those questions should you have them and should they be legitimate questions. So thank you very much, Mr. Gupta and Professor Singh, for your thoughts and for your time today.
Thank you so much for having us here today evening, and thanks to all the participants. I mean, your attendance shows that you are interested in your future and investment. So best wishes to everyone.
And yeah, from my side as well, thank you for having me here and thank you for listening to my thoughts. I will just conclude by saying that when I joined in 2012, after 15 years, I thought I'm too old. But honestly, after 12 years, I feel even today, if I have the opportunity, I would do it again. That's how valuable it is. So I will encourage everyone who wants to take their career to the new heights. This is the way to go. Thank you.
All right. Positive words. Thank you so very much, Mr. Gupta, for ending on that very positive note.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.